sometimes feel like your flowers and leaves are a bit, well, flat or lifeless? You're not bad at watercolour painting. It's just that no one has explained values to you and exactly how it works. I'm going to show you what values actually looks like in practice. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to transform your own pictures and paintings. Now I'm going to show you what values actually looks like in practice. I'm drawing here 5 simple circles, and what I'm going to do is start from very light to the darkest value on the end. I know I've cut off the end, but you will see it. I'm going to mark this as number 1. This is your lightest value. And then in the middle here, this is more of a mid-tone value. And there's a balance of water and paint, which I'll explain in a second. And then the final circle, number 5, is your darkest value. That's where there's going to be more pigment and less water, which gives us the darkest value. A common mistake beginners make is staying around the middle area. Everything ends up looking a bit flat because there's not enough contrast. So we're going to start at the beginning, the lightest tone. And what that means is I've made up a mixture using mostly water and just a hint of colour. And I'm using some Japanese watercolours. I'll leave all the details in the description box for you, just so that I can explain exactly what I'm doing for you. I'm painting a leaf as well for you, just so that you can see in practice exactly what each tone looks like. You can do this with any colour, any brand as well. It's a very good exercise and I really recommend it. So circle number 2 is going to be slightly darker than circle number 1, which is our lightest value. There's still value in this, it's just slightly darker to the first one. And by that, what that means is we've added some more pigment into our water mixture. Here's my leaf for you. So in a nutshell, in watercolour, value is how light or dark a colour appears to be, and it's controlled mainly by how much water or pigment you use to create depth and form. So on to circle number 3, the mid value, and this is where beginners tend to paint with one comfortable mix. So that's why most of the painting stays the same tone. When this happens, the painting can look flat. What you want to try and do is aim to include a light, a mid and a dark value. So whatever you're painting has got contrast and depth. If you wait until the end, I've got a flower painting that I've done for you. And what I've done is I've painted that in one tone. But what I'm going to do is add on some slightly different tones so that you can see what I mean and why this exercise is really important for you to do. It might feel like it's a really boring exercise, but like the other one that I did, which was some brush stroke techniques, which I'll leave in the description box, it's really important to do these exercises as a beginner. It is watercolour basic information, and it's like driving. If you don't know the basics, I was going to say you don't know how to break the rules, but that's probably not a good example. Please don't break the rules when you're driving. But if you don't know the basic fundamentals of watercolours, how can you learn to grow? How can you create really beautiful, contrasting, depth defining pictures without knowing some of the basics? By the way, I'm not saying I know every single thing about watercolour. I definitely do not know everything about watercolours. I still feel like I'm learning every single day. I don't fully understand colour theory, to be completely honest with you, but I still paint because I still really like it. But something like this, to make your pictures stand out, make your flowers or your leaves stand out, I think it is really important to know some of the basics. So I've painted the final circle, and that is my darkest value, and I've painted a leaf for you as well just now. So it's basically less water and quite a bit more pigment. Usually this is done on a scale of 1 to 10, but I just wanted to do 5. If you can take away 1, 3 and 5, light, middle, darkest. I think that's the most important thing to take away with you today. Let's start with this lightest value first. I'm going to paint a leaf for you, and we're going to use the three that I've mentioned, the three tones that I've mentioned. Let me show you. Right, let's move all this up so that you can see exactly what I'm going to do. Here's my mixture. Let's make up the lightest value first, and then let's paint a bigger leaf for you so that you can see. And this is all wet, and I'm going to just make a leaf shape for you. That's my lightest value, lightest number 1. And then we're going to add on 3 and 5. So halfway on the leaf, in fact, let me just make this bit a bit bigger for you so that you can see. So this is the number 3 mid-tone value. This is where most beginners tend to paint and then not realise there's other shades. So let's add on the darkest value. Let's just get a bit more pigment into my mixture. And then I'm just going to add it onto the edges. And whilst the paint is still wet, you'll be able to see that blend in, and it gives a more of a 3D look as well. If we imagine the sun is just above that leaf where it's lighter, and then as you can see, it builds up, and because you've got that depth and that contrast now a bit clearer, it makes it look a bit more 3D-ish as well. Does that make sense why sometimes your paintings might look flat when it's all painted at one tone, one value? It's definitely worth doing an exercise like this with a colour that you next want to paint in. So I also painted a flower, and I will leave the painting of the flower at the end when I've finished the tutorial so that you can have a go at painting that yourself. Let me get a close-up for you. So I've painted this flower in one tone. If we imagine where the sun is, in fact, I'm just going to write down sun. I probably could have drawn it or painted it, but let's just write down sun. And if we imagine the sun is there, these bits are going to be a bit darker. So what I'm doing is I'm going in with the mid-tone and the darkest values in certain areas. I'm not putting that everywhere. And this picture was just to show you, it's not meant to be a fantastic painting or anything, but it was just to show you and explain to you in practice how to make your pictures come to life a bit more. I'm adding some of the areas with the 3rd value and the 5th value in that scale. That's why it's really important that you understand why your paintings are sometimes a bit flat. It doesn't mean you're bad at painting at all. It means when I add the darker values, they'll stay more defined instead of spreading when the paint has dried. But like I said earlier, I'm thinking about the shadows, where they would be, using a slightly stronger mix to build up the contrast. And that's really the key idea. In watercolour, your lightest lights come from the paper, your mid-tones come from the watery washes, and your darks come from the more of the pigment. So if you can start to see and use these 3 values, your paintings will instantly look more dimensional, more 3D, more depth in them. At the end of this tutorial, if you want to watch the flower painting, I will leave that at the end for you so that you can have a go at painting this yourself. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this was something that I did struggle with when I first started out with watercolour painting. My paintings really were looking pretty flat, and it took me a while to figure that out. I hope you found this useful, and I will see you in the next video. Here's the flower painting coming up, and take care.